Hey, so it's like 12:50 at night right now. SNL is almost over, and earlier in the week I was talking about how I'd never listened to Coast to Coast before. So I decided that I want to give it a shot. I'm going to listen to this radio station. It's on from like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. I'm not going to make it to 5 a.m., but I figure give it an hour or two, should be able to hear a full interview. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Probably going to tap out early, but yeah, I'll go for it while I'm susceptible and I'm yawning a lot, hanging out with my cat.
I'm Beta Scott, and it's Beta time!
So I managed to make it to almost 3:30 a.m., which is like 2.5 hours, which is a lot of a show to watch. So it's basically a really bad political talk radio show, but with like more focus on the grays than just the coloreds. There are two common themes I found throughout the show, fear-mongering and simple solutions. What I did not find was a lot of this noise, because normally on talk radio you have Rush Limbaugh or Glenn Beck is wrestling the paper, so you know he has hard proof about this stuff. So yeah, I have 3 pages of notes I took, so be prepared. The first hour was all open lines, which were awful, and it was basically for callers that Tom Sharpling would have rejected because they're terrible. Scattered throughout them were world news updates about how terrible everything is, and commercials for home security, secret remedies, and also PSAs for the government, which was weird because they didn't quite fit in. Most of the calls were dumb, as you could expect. There was a lot of racism, which I was not expecting at all. Like, I legitimately did not realize that every other call would involve people just saying horrible things about China and Chinese people. There were also gun conspiracies. My favorite involved the Hollywood military complex and that Batman film, you know, Dark Man Rising. There were so many political buzzwords thrown around, and it was just really dumb. There was one good part, though. A 10-year-old kid called, and he was really nervous, and John B. Wells was on the defense trying to figure out if this was a prank call or not. But the kid was sincere, and he was talking about how he was visited by something, and he wasn't sure what it was, and he was kind of scared about it. And the two talked it over, and they decided that what the kid saw was the spirit of his great-grandmother who had passed away recently. And there's no reason to be afraid. It's a really sweet, unique, special experience he had. And it was really, like, kind of actually a heartwarming moment, and I was really surprised to hear that on the show. But of course, shortly after that, they then talked about killing Chinese people and how they're not worth much, and then there was a really bad racist accent with him while he's saying, I'm not racist, but yeah. On to page 2. Next half hour, or next hour and a half of a 2-hour segment, I bailed on the last half hour because it was really bad. But it was 2 people that used numerology to predict the future, and then they talked about their predictions, which also my cat has decided to visit. They talked about how bitcoins would be huge and how successful they are and how they predicted all of that, which really, hey Duncan. They also were of course selling their subscription service, which is like $1 a week, and you should totally buy them because what else did they predict? Oh, they mentioned that Olympus Down is an important political statement and needs to be taken seriously. The number 23 is actually an important number, and it's not just part of a joke religion and Discordianism, but it's actually true, and you can tell the future through it. That we also need to drill for oil more, because the future is in oil, not going green. And that was the point when PETA showed up, because the camel's back was broken, and I raged quit. There was also a lot of talk about Kim Jong-un, with one guy saying we should just bomb him and be done with it. Throughout the show, there were a lot of simple solutions presented, none of them feasible because they're all juvenile ideas of how the world works. Everyone on the show wanted an easy answer, some way to fix everything. Their solutions and hypotheses are an escape from the fact that the world is complex and random, and sometimes things happen and we have to deal with it. I want to end on a positive note. They had really solid music programming and trivia, and if this was just a music show, I would probably listen a lot more often.